A bit late, but here are all my wishlist plants.
Yoga and plant with Roos. Yoga and plant with Roos.
Hello, this is Maggie, and I am Rose. Happy New Year from Maggie and I, and all of our plants. It's finally time to share with you all of the plants that I am interested in trying in 2021. And although I named this video a wish list video, they're not so much wish list for me anymore. Not compared to last year where they were plants that I really, really wanted to own. This year it's more like I would love to try them. They look beautiful. I would love to try and grow them, but not so much that need that I used to have, which I'm kind of happy about because it means that I'm actually happy with the plants that I already own, my current collection. So that's a good thing, I think, and something to think about. Instead of always wanting something new, it's kind of good to appreciate what you already have and try and grow those a little bit bigger. That's my goal for this year, grow my Anthurium leaves bigger, and also some Philodendron as well. I would love to have bigger Melanochrysum leaves, for example. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I actually do have a lot of plants that look beautiful that I would love to see or own or try to grow. So there's not so much a need or a timeline where I want to get them. It's just for fun. Let's go. Let's start with Alocasia, one of my favorite genuses if you have seen my other videos in my collection. And I actually own a lot of them already that I absolutely love, but one of them that I don't have yet is the variegated Friedeck, which is actually called Alocasia mycolitziana Friedeck. That is the variegated one. And then we've got Alocasia mycolitziana Mexkowski, and that is the green one. But I can imagine why people just call it Friedeck. And then Friedeck variegated. It's a little bit easier. But anyway, this beautiful, beautiful plant, I've seen it IRL before with the Steck opening where I went, and it was part of Angela's collection. Casa Botanica is a web shop I really, really like, and they are velvet on the white parts. That is just mind-blowing, and if there is ever one in my budget, I would love to try it. Another Alocasia that I really like the look of is Alocasia Malo. It was on my wish list last year, but I have to admit it's gone down a little bit in how much I would like to try it. I really, really love my dragon scale and my Friedeck, so I don't want it as badly as I did before, if that makes sense. But it is very beautiful. There are also some begonias that I love the look of, at least on Instagram, and some of them I've also seen IRL in the botanical gardens. Check that video out here. I pretty much know that I cannot grow these. I used to have a Begonia amphioxus cutting from my friend Maika. I killed that within very quickly. These are a few begonias that I love the look of. One of them is the amphioxus that I already mentioned. It looks like a dart frog almost, like the bright green with orange dots. Very cool. Another one is the Darth Vaderiana. I love the look of this plant, and also the name, of course, is amazing. Who comes up with that shit stuff? Some of my friends seem to grow these really well, and it just looks really, really cool. But from what I've heard, they melt very easily and they die very easily. So not one I want to own, but something that I love to look at. And then the last one is a Begonia chlorosticta, which have been for sale here in that shop I mentioned, Casa Botanica. But I heard that they are quite tricky to grow. And our Begonia queen, Rachel from Heart Shaped Leaves, has the most beautiful pictures of this plant. So I just enjoy the pictures for now. But I think it is one that I might want to try and grow at one point. Moving on to Anthuriums, one of my favorite genuses. I'm kind of starting at the least favorite parts of my wish list and then going up. I love these plants. I've gotten quite a few last year and I'm very, very excited about it. There are two that I really kind of want to grow, and one of them is Anthurium warocqueanum, Queen Anthurium. I have one kind of coming to me, but I don't know when I will be able to get it because of Rona is blocking everything right now. But definitely such a beautiful plant, and I can't wait to grow this myself. I'm getting a really, really small one, but if you look at some of these images, there are some really big, huge leaves as well. And yeah, that's an inspiration for me. I would love to grow them like that at one point. The other one is Anthurium Ace of Spades, which comes out really like reddish, I think. And I just love the color gradation, if that makes sense, that it gets. But unfortunately, these are really hard to get right now. So I think we have to wait a little bit until they are more mass produced and then more affordable, because they are very expensive right now, as are most plants in this list and just in general. A few others that I would like to try but that are a little bit less high on the Anthurium list are Anthurium waterburyanum, which also seems to be an amazing velvet Anthurium that you don't see around very often. Papillilaminum, or Pappy for short. These look so cool, and I think there are a lot of hybrids on the market right now. I wouldn't mind a hybrid. They look very cool as well. I know some of my friends are looking for like the pure Pappy. I don't really care. I'm happy with a hybrid either way. They just look very, very cool. And then another one that I don't see a lot about is Marmoratum, which some of my friends own, and it just looks very pretty. A little bit similar to my Metallicum as well. After finding these pictures, I actually realized that all of them are from Australia. So maybe this plant is more accessible in Australia. I have not found any from Europe. Then Hoya. I do have a lot of Hoya on this list. Partly because I just put out a Hoya collaboration video with a lot of wishlist Hoyas. If you want to check that out after this video. The top one on my list right now is Gunungating, which I got last year. And I still have to get used to saying last year because it's the 1st of January today. It's kind of weird. You can see the unboxing of that Hoya hole here. But that Hoya, even though it was rooted, died on me really quickly. It didn't like transport. All the other Hoyas from that shipment actually are doing great. But that one died, so I'm hoping to get it again in spring and grow it because it can look so amazing and so sun-stressed and full and just amazing. Another one I really love the look of. I saw this on my friend Crazy Plant Bunny's Instagram, and as soon as I saw it, I added it to my wish list. It's the Hoya Vrinci Borneo, if I pronounce that right. It looks so cool with the pink splash on those leaves. I've not seen many people mention this plant, but some of my friends know it for sure and definitely made it straight onto my top Hoya wish list. And then the third that is at the top of my Hoya wish list is Hoya Pirac Teddy Bear, which is apparently now renamed into Peninsularis. That looks so cool, a little bit prehistoric as well. I love those leaves that look very veiny and just big and cool. So that one is on the top 3 Hoyas as well. And a few other Hoyas I want to mention are the Hoya Michelle that James showed us on the collaboration video I mentioned earlier. His has so much splash, it looks amazing. But then the one with less splash also looks amazing. So Hoya Michelle is definitely on there. Hoya Sarawak with those big veiny leaves looks amazing. I would love to try that, to grow that. And Hoya vitellinoides or vitellinoides, I don't know how to pronounce. After doing some research, I actually found out that several important Hoya people like Christine Burton and Doug from Vermont Hoya think that this might be the same as Hoya meredithii. I don't know if that is true, but it is interesting to think about. That also looks very cool and veiny and big. There is a theme here, if you can see it. Hoya villosa Cao Dang, which my friend Adam owns, and it looks so cool with the veins and the velvet leaves and, or like, is it velvet if it's Hoya? Like hairy leaves? They are so cool. We've got a few more. Are you still with me? Hoya Waieti variegata, but I would like this only if it's like a full pot. I feel like one strand of this wouldn't do it justice, if that makes sense. And they are super expensive here, so yeah. Nee. Dat doet hij als hij langer dan 11 minuten is. Dan gaat hij het in 2 stukken knippen. Since seeing my own collaboration video, I also really like the look of Hoya undulata, which my friend Miro showed on his channel Basie Plants. His looks very beautiful, like big and different than what I've seen on other people's collections, if that makes sense. So I'm showing his here, hopefully. And one that Alessia showed us from Lescia's Leaves is the Bella Louis Bois. We don't know how to pronounce, but hers looks so full. I only see people struggling with variegated Hoya Bellas. Hers is like exploding with growth and it looks amazing. I would like to try that one. I don't own a Bella because I don't know, it didn't speak to me, but hers in that video definitely spoke to me. The last few Hoya on this list are actually probably hybrids. They have like women's names rather than funky Latin looking names. So there are Hoya CV Joy, Hoya Viola, and Hoya Jennifer. And all of those have big leaves and veins or splash or something cool that made me add them to this list. So definitely also check those out. We're almost there. I have a few miscellaneous plants. I would love to try a Monstera variegata aurea, the yellow variegated Monstera. That looks very, very cool. And I love yellow variegation, just like on my Alocasia. So I definitely want to try that one at one point. And also some jewel orchids. Since I made that jewel orchid video, which you can find here with Rogier, there are definitely a few new jewel orchids on my list. For example, the Macodus sanderiana. And I know these are for sale at orchids.nl and I can just buy them, but I want to be smart with my money this year because I'm not making that much. I don't work very much, as most of us probably. So I don't just buy them. It's okay to want something and not immediately buy it, for me at least, if that makes sense. And also a Noctochilus, I don't know how to pronounce that, but Rogier showed a few in the video that I did with him. They looked very, very beautiful. I would love to try some of those. There are some hybrids on orchids.nl as well. This is not sponsored, by the way. That's where I go when I want to look at beautiful jewel orchids. And the hybrids also look amazing, so that would be fun to try as well. And the last one is Corybas. After spending so much time with Rogier, I have to add these to my list because he is obsessed with them, if I may say that. And they look so cute, especially the one that looks like a clarinervium. The tiny leaves have pink veins and just so beautiful. So that would be a fun one to try and grow. I heard they are kind of difficult and also difficult to find. So I'm not holding my breath for this one, but why not add it? It's fun to see and to show you guys. Finally, we made it to Philodendron. It's been a while. So there are 4 Philodendron that I definitely have high on my list. Of course, the first one is a Florida Beauty. I got one and it died right away, so that was a little bit sad. So I'm definitely still having that on my actual wish list plants. I think there's like 1 or 2 that are actually super high on the wish list. I just love the way this looks. The different variegations, like sometimes you get a half moon leaf if you're lucky, but then you get like a marbled leaf with different colors of yellow and green. Just looks so, so cool. I definitely want to try this one. And I'm talking a little bit more so I can show you more Instagram photos as I talk because I just love looking at photos of this plant. Another philodendron I would love to try is the variegated Billietier. I don't own a regular Billietier, and I love saying that name, Billietier. But the variegated one just looks super beautiful, and I would love to try and grow it. And by the way, I'm not really a big fan of variegation. It's just more like a surprise with every leaf, which makes it very exciting, if that makes sense. 2 more that I really love. One is Atapapuense. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I really like the look of these leaves and I would love to try and grow it because I don't own anything that it has that long leaf shape yet. So in similar fashion to the Billietier, I would love to try and grow that. And then Philodendron Brillmarks Fantasy with those beautiful kind of networky looking leaves, and especially the plant that my friend Georgia owns. It grows in a little terrarium and it just looks magical. I would love to try and grow something like that, looking so pretty in a tiny terrarium. Very cool. Gloriosum also made it on this list. I don't own one yet, but it's not as high on the list as the other philodendron I mentioned. I would like to own it, but it is quite big, so I don't know where to put it. And anytime I bring in a big plant, it means I have to get rid of another plant to make space. So that is a thing I think about. And a Pastazanum as well. I haven't tried the crawlers yet of the philodendron, so either of those would be cool to try with the big pillowy heart-shaped leaves. I think that would be fun. And then there are a few philodendron hybrids that seem to be really cool, like the Splendid and the Glorious. I haven't tried any of those, so I would like to try either of those. My friend Kat from the Instagram account @Ansonia She definitely recommended, I think, the Splendid over the Glorious, or the other way around, I keep forgetting, but one of them is easier to grow for her. So let me know in the comments if you own one of these, or both of them maybe, which one you prefer, and if they are easy or a little bit more difficult. And that's it! We made it to the end of my 3-page list. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. It's been amazing making more plant content for you guys and getting all the lovely feedback and views and likes and comments. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope to bring you even more high quality and fun content in the new year. Thanks so much. Take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye. As always, a huge thank you to my beautiful patrons and YouTube members, and also to all the people who created these beautiful photos that I used. I took a lot of them off Instagram, but I left the handles in there so you can find all of those accounts. And of course, some of my Hoya collab people whose footage I used again. Thank you guys all so much, and I love you.
Yoga and plant with Roos. Yoga and plant with Roos.